Welcome back to Yankeeography, Generations. Gehrig's loss created a void at first base for the Yankees throughout the 40s. As the decade drew to a close, even Tommy Henrich sometimes left the outfield to play it and helped the Yankees to their first of 5 straight championships.
This mighty home run blast in the last half of the ninth makes Tommy Henrich the hero of the day.
In 1950, Casey Stengel tried to move the injury-riddled Joe DiMaggio to first, but that experiment lasted just 1 day.
You want to see a guy that's worried. He was worried that he's going to commit some mistake being unfamiliar with playing first base. He had never played first base. That's a little tough.
So DiMaggio went back to center, and Joe Collins took over first. Collins had a solid all-around game and won titles in his first 4 full seasons with the Yankees.
He was a terrific fielder at first base, and he was a streak hitter. He could carry a team for a week or 10 days.
Statistics may have always been like 255, 260, but somehow those 50 RBIs were translated into the wrong ones at the wrong time for Dodger fans in the postseason.
Collins hit 3 of his 4 World Series home runs against the Dodgers, who were also punished by Johnny Mize. Nearing the end of his great career, Mize came off the bench to play first and was the '52 Series MVP.
Here's one trump card the Yankees have Brooklyn can't approach. Johnny Mize, one of the soundest hitters in the game.
The sentimental hero in this series.
But despite the heroics of Mize in '52, first base belonged to Collins. Until '54, that is, when he split time with Bill Moose Skowron. Moose was a moose, and he took over full-time in '56.
The Moose. He was the original Moose. He had that crew cut and a jut jaw from Chicago. He was a tough guy, and he embodied that Yankee team in the latter stages of the '50s into the early '60s.
I played 9 years with the Yankees. We were in 7 World Series, and as it turned out, I hit 8 home runs in World Series play.
There it goes. Skowron smashes the ball deep.
Skowron's biggest World Series home run was especially sweet, for after making the final out of the '57 series with Milwaukee, Moose eyed revenge when the Yankees and Braves met again in '58.
Warren Spahn and Lou Burdett popped off, and they says they wish the Yankees were in the National League because we wouldn't come in 5th place. And we all read the newspapers, and we were kind of angry about what they said. I did 3-run homer against Lou Burdett to beat him.
And the Moose slams one over the left field fence to put the Yankees way out ahead, 6-2.
Moose Skowron was proud to wear the pinstripes. For him, it was all about playing hard and winning championships.
He's the one that I always remember in the younger ball players when they come up. Don't mess around with my World Series money now. You got to do this and you got to do that.
One of those youngsters was first baseman Joe Pepitone, who made the team in '62.
When Pepitone joined the team, I took Pepe out. I says, Pepe, we're used to winning over here. Don't monkey around my money.
After helping the Yankees win the '62 World Series, Moose was traded to the Dodgers, and Pepitone assumed first base. The Brooklyn-born Pepitone was quite a contrast to Moose.
He was a type of a player that was always in a good mood when he got to the ballpark. He was always laughing, pulling a joke on somebody.
Anybody that knows Joe Pepitone knows how loose he is and how, he could have been an entertainer. He could sing and dance and tell jokes.
But the reaction was kind of, varied, but, the Mantles and the older guys on the club, the gun-ho guys, man, they were really on my case.
But Pepitone could play. The 3-time All-Star won 3 Gold Gloves and got some big postseason hits.
And he drives one deep to right. It might be out of here. It could be. It is a grand slam.
He was a great fielder and a terrific hitter. He could play. He had tremendous natural ability.
Just an outstanding ball player and had the great crowd appeal.
You might say the flamboyant Pepitone was the first Broadway Joe in New York. It's certainly safe to say he was the first Yankee to bring a blow dryer into the clubhouse.
He got a lot of laughs, and of course the reporters were all over it.
Now you go in the clubhouse and every locker has a built-in hair dryer, and so I think I did a little change in that game.
Pepitone was different, but he was a team player. In '67, as Mantle neared the end of his career, Joe helped prolong it.
I just won a Gold Glove at first base, And Ralph Howell came up to me and said, would you like to play center field next year? And I said, I'd love to. And I went out there, Mickey played first.
But unlike the DiMaggio experiment, Mickey adapted to first base, and the Yankees were able to keep his still potent bat in the lineup.
Here's the payoff pitch. This is it! There it goes! It's out of here!
I think one of the great myths of baseball history, or at least Yankees history, is that Mickey Mantle was washed up the last couple of years of his career. Mantle was still, the day he retired, a good ball player.
After 2 years at first, Mantle ended his Hall of Fame career, and Pepitone moved back in '69. But Joe was traded at the season's end, and the carousel at first began once again. In the early '70s, manager Ralph Houck watched a revolving door of players try to stake their claim to the Yankees' first base job.
John Ellis, who was going to play first base on opening day, and Mrs. Gehrig was quoted as saying, I've waited all these years for Lou's successor, and here he is in John Ellis. It wasn't the best scouting report.
So John Ellis was not the Iron Horse, but help was on the way. For GM Gabe Paul swung a huge deal in April of '74 to get a player he knew well from his days at Cleveland.
They traded 40% of their pitching staff. It was Fritz Peterson, Steve Klein, Tom Buskey, and Fred Bean to the Indians for Chris Chambliss, Cecil Upshaw, Dick Tidrow.
Of course, the key to the deal was Chris Chambliss, the '71 Rookie of the Year.
It was a shock. My wife and I had just gotten married in '73. I was traded in April of '74. It was real tough because we enjoyed Cleveland, and it was my first team. It was the first time I got traded.
Chambliss immediately took over first base, but he struggled, hitting just .242 as a Yankee.
And for a long time, that was a really unpopular trade, and Chambliss did not do well. And he was booed, and that trade was looked at as Gabe Paul's worst.
But that kind of talk stopped in '75 when Chris hit .304. And when the Yankees returned from Shea Stadium in '76, Chambliss had a career power year.
That season, statistically, was my best year. It was the only year I made the All-Star team. It was just like '76 was my year.
In fact, he finished 5th in the voting for the AL MVP award and helped the Yankees win their division. Finally, they were back in the playoffs.
We hadn't been in a series in over 10 years, the 10 years that I was there.
There's emotion running through every ball player on both teams.
The last game, the scores are tied up, and we're trying to keep from going extra in. We got the last at bat.
We'll go to the bottom of the 9th inning now, and Mark Littell is on the mound. It'll be Chambliss. Chambliss is 10 out of 20.
The biggest thing I remember was having to wait a long time before the at-bat started, because I was the first hitter of that 9th inning, and the fans threw junk all over the field.
Chambliss is pacing back and forth, and Littell gets a couple of extra pitches to stay warm.
We were just standing there, and it was cold. It was really cold. And once that happened, Mark threw one pitch.
Mark Littell delivers high drive into right center field. That's gone. It is gone. Chris Chambliss has won the American League pennant for the New York Yankees.
All the fans were all on the field by the time I got to second base, and it was pretty wild.
Look at the toss, Chris Chambliss. There obviously was no opportunity for Chris Chambliss to travel around the bases.
Everybody asked me the same question, did you touch home plate? And I said, there's no way. What we did is I put on a jacket and took 2 cops with me, and the plate was gone. It was just dirt. So I touched it, and we went back.
Gabe Paul's worst trade had become his best. In 1977, Chambliss posted nearly identical stats, and with the addition of Reggie Jackson, the Yankees won their first title in 15 years.
We brought on not only Reggie, but Bucky Dent became a shortstop, and from being in the World Series 2 years in a row and now to actually win it, I just felt great.
Chambliss won his second straight title in '78 as he helped New York erase Boston's 14-game lead. He reached 90 RBIs a third straight year and won his first Gold Glove.
My defense grew over a course of time. I wasn't all that great when I first come up. My first base play got better and better, and it reached a peak in '78.
Beautiful Beautiful play by Chambliss.
Everybody respected him, even on the other side. He was a professional. A guy like Chambliss was like a calming factor for the ball club.
For Chris, coaching was a natural progression, which included 2 stints as hitting coach of the Yankees.
Great move, Willie. Atta baby.
He taught me how to relax at the plate. I was really kind of a high-intense type player. Not only was he my hitting instructor, so I learned a lot from him on defense as well.
I just can't believe he hasn't become a manager yet. I think he's got the qualifications.
No matter where Chambliss ends up, it's his past and presence at first that New York fans will always remember.